So we're talking about a lot of things about buying a house, but we're not talking about the actual contract and some of the other nuances. We're trying to get the idea, the risk here about buying a house. So we're talking about the as-is FAR bar contract and what it talks about the seller closing out open permits. Fact of the matter is, the as-is FAR bar contract, the most popular contract in the state of Florida, does not require the seller to close out any open permits. Now, we haven't gotten to the contract yet. We're trying, but we got to get through the risk of writing an offer. So part of the risk of buying a home are open permits. Permits for home construction that's not closed out. Closed out meaning they open the permit to do some work and the contractor or the homeowner never closed the permit out. That's called an open permit. Same thing can be said about unpermitted work. These are two risks for a buyer. Now, you can close a transaction with title with open permits. Title doesn't care because that doesn't necessarily cloud the title. It doesn't. It might affect you to sell the property to another buyer in the future, but title insurance doesn't really care about that. Your lender might care. So if you have some open permits out there or unpermitted work, you could ask your lender if they care about closing the transaction. They probably won't, but you should care as a buyer. So why are open permits such an issue for a buyer? Well, it's just your ability to resell the house. So if you go to resell the house to a buyer down the road and they see open permits, they might not buy your house because there's risk. What's the risk? Well, there's many actually. So if you close a home with open permits, your title company will probably let you do it because that doesn't cloud the title. It's not a lien, it's just an open permit. Your lender might even allow you to do it. But if you decide to close that permit out, you've got to go down to the county, or the city, open the permit back up, pay a fee, inspect the work, and maybe the work's not going to pass inspection. Maybe you got to redo it, supply drawings, engineering. It could cost you thousands of dollars. It's something you don't want to do. So we're talking about open permits. So the FAR bar as-is contract doesn't say the seller has to close them out, so you have to add this language. You got to say something to this effect. Seller agrees to close out any open permits on home before closing. As simple as that. If you don't say it, they don't have to do it because the contract says they only have to cooperate with you as a buyer. They don't have to close them out. Well, that doesn't help you very much as a buyer. Now, if you don't put that language in there, the FAR bar as-is contract doesn't say the seller has to close out any open permits. What it says is the seller has to cooperate with you as a buyer, like provide any drawings, notes, or any information they have about the open permit, but they don't have to do anything. But you could also cancel the contract during the inspection period for whatever reason you want, which protects your interests as well. So let's move on to more fun things about buying a home. How about unpermitted work? Well, this is kind of a gray area. There's a lot of people that take a Florida room that was a porch, they put some windows, drop a wall unit in there, put some electrical in the wall and call it a room, but it's unpermitted. Now, does anybody care about this? Well, no, yes, maybe. I mean, it's a difficult thing. For me as a very good, listing agent, I don't really care that much because it's not an open permit. It's some work they did. They improved the house. Is that living area worth the same that's unpermitted work as living area that is permitted? The answer is, maybe. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but the bottom line is buyers love homes, right? And if you see a beautiful Florida room that somebody created without a permit, are you going to not buy the house? Well, I haven't seen much of that. I see most buyers just moving ahead and closing the transaction. But in Miami-Dade, Broward, they make you do a certificate of occupancy if there's unpermitted work or possibly open permits. Miami-Dade Broward is a completely different county. It can be very costly to get that through the building department, so careful as you go in that zone.